In a land shadowed by sorrow, when faith had all but faded, and the chains of oppression gripped the people of Israel, hope arrived in the quietest of places. From the midst of barren despair, an angel of the Lord appeared to a humble woman, bearing words weighted with eternity. You shall conceive and bear a son. No razor shall touch his head, for the child is set apart as a Nazirite to God from the womb. He will begin to deliver Israel from the hands of their enemies. In that sacred moment, promise took form. A son, Samson, born with destiny engraved into his very being. As Samson grew, the Spirit of the Lord stirred within him, kindling in the young man a strength that defied nature and defied fear. Lions were as lambs before him. With nothing but the jawbone of a donkey, he brought down 1,000 Philistine soldiers. When his enemies sought to imprison him, he tore the gates of Gaza from their hinges, carrying them high upon his shoulders, a living monument to his God-given might. Yet, even as his feet echoed the purposes of heaven, a restlessness brewed within him. For every act of divine valor, there followed a shadow of self-will, a longing after forbidden things, a tendency to pursue desire above duty. And so came Delilah, her beauty a snare, her intentions set not by love, but by silver weighed and counted by Philistine hands. Patient and persistent, she dug at the secret of his strength, her words like drip after drip, wearing upon the stone of his resolve. At last, beset by her constant questioning, Samson's spirit broke. To her he confessed, "If my hair is shorn, my strength will leave me." In that surrender, he let go of his covenant, forgetting the sacred link that bound him to his Maker. As he slept, Delilah's blade cut away not just his hair, but the symbol of his consecration. The Spirit of the Lord departed, unseen, but deeply felt. Waking, Samson expected to triumph as before. But the power was gone, and he stood defenseless before his foes. The Philistines seized him, cruel and unrelenting. They gouged out his eyes, plunging him into a deeper night than the loss of sight. Bound and blinded, Samson was forced to grind grain in a prison house, a deliverer turned captive, mocked and paraded before idolaters who laughed at his downfall. In the echoing halls of their temple, he was a living trophy of his own defeat, a warning against the price of broken vows and squandered gifts. Yet within that darkness, a flicker of repentance took root. As his hair began to grow anew, so did his dependence on the God he had forsaken. Humbled, Samson turned his heart heavenward one final time. Led by a boy, he found himself between the twin pillars of the Philistine temple, the cavernous space thunderous with mockery. There, he prayed with the last of his faith. O sovereign Lord, remember me. Strengthen me just once more. With a surge of strength, born not of muscle, but of surrender, he pulled the pillars down, toppling the temple and bringing judgment upon the enemies of his people. In this final act, Samson fulfilled his calling, achieving in death what pride had scattered in life. Samson's story stands as a solemn lesson written in the annals of faith. It calls us to remember that our gifts are sacred trusts, not for self-glory, but for service to God's purpose. Temptation may whisper, and the world may beckon, Yet the cost of compromise is always spiritual blindness and captivity. But see, even in the ruins, God's mercy endures. When Samson repented, God restored him, not to prestige but to purpose, redeeming his failure in a moment of willing sacrifice. Let us then heed the lesson of Samson. Cling to your divine calling, guard your consecration, wary of the subtle chains of desire. For true strength, enduring and eternal, is born not of ourselves, but of humble obedience and steadfast faith in the Lord of all hope and deliverance.